So I just want to extend a heartfelt welcome to everybody that is here. We're so excited for this day, and we'll just go ahead and kind of sit and make this kind of informal. But I am Dr. Theresa Thompson. I'm a family nurse practitioner. I am CEO and president of the Health Wagon, and we're just so happy to have you here. The Health Wagon is the oldest mobile-free clinic in the nation that was started by Sister Vernon Kinney all those years ago, probably 40 years ago. And we also have stationary clinics in addition to our four mobile units. We have 4 stationary clinics and 4 mobile units as well. And we do preventative and primary care. Am I laughing up? We do preventative and primary care. We also do specialty care. We also do our dental care with Dr. Olivia Stallard and all her wonderful partners. We do also eye services as well. Last year we had a record number of 32,500 patient encounters, and that was a record-breaking year for us. A lot of that was our really heavy lift with COVID. I think at the end of the day, the Health Wagon will be noted from keeping this region from being decimated by COVID because of our significant healthcare disparities. And so I just thank my wonderful staff for that. We are here at our Innovative Readiness training program, and this is like a joint partnership between the Health Wagon and other community partners and with the military. So what that is, this is actually our 3rd event. We have no cost eye, dental, and medical care. And this makes our 3rd year that we've had that. We have to put in an application with the Department of Defense 2 years in advance. And so this was the first time that it was done in Virginia. This is our 3rd one two ago. So the Navy is actually heading up this project as well. And so we're just so thankful. We have groups from really all branches of the services that are here. So we really thank them for that. And naturally, with the dental, with us providing the dental, every day we have maxed out on the dental. We have provided 1,642 procedures thus far. We've got, this is a 10-day project for the military, and we have 3 days to go as well. But, this morning I had one of our nurse practitioners meeting the group at one of the local dentists here getting suture material because we were out of suture material and running out of material. So we've still got 3 days to go on that. I think what most people have, and a lot of you have been our partners in the past, was our remote area medical wise counting that we had here for 20 successful years. We're so proud of that. We had, but we are rebranding that. Since COVID, we will be calling it Move Mountains Medical Mission, or M7 for short, because we have 7 core concepts to that, and we'll be having that in 2023. So anybody who wants to be helping us on that, we need help right now with that. And we will be having a free eye dental medical care with that as well. And during that project, we've treated over 100,000 patients that came through the gates at that time. Tara Queen, she's here with the Moms Project. Dr. Dickinson and Barbara Rollins and Tara, they have been a part of that over the years. And I always say that Dr. Dickens is he's my hero. And the Mom Projects were born out of that, and so now they are going to the Convocation Center. They have theirs here, but maybe next year we're discussions we can have the Mom Project there and all of our other ancillary services like our eye and medical services out here, and really grow a really strong medical component or a social component to that as well, because we really see pressing social needs here, in Southwest Virginia. But I think one of the most exciting things that has happened is we broke ground on our dental clinic. It was Dr. Smitty's vision to have a dental clinic here, and we have broke ground, on that. And we'll have 10 bays. We'll have a 10 seats in that clinic as well. It's 5,000 square feet, and we will have our LMU dental students. And we thank Dr. Smitty for bringing that partnership here for that, and Denise Coe. So we appreciate that. So that will be opening in the fall as well. We have been doing dental actually out of a mobile unit with Frank Waldo and his group with that, have been helping with that. But I think the reason, that we do all this is about the patient. So where you sit at, we had a volunteer, Jess Powers. He came over from the medical over here to the dental, because if y'all remember, many of you here, We would have like 75 dental chairs in operation. So he came over to get an order or something like that, and he heard the conversation of a dentist and a little 7-year-old boy that was sitting here in the seat where we're sitting at. And the little 7-year-old boy looked up at him and said, "Whatever you do, if I start to cry, don't stop because I'm in so much pain." And that just breaks my heart every time I think about that, because there's other 7-year-olds, are out there in school today in dental pain. And so, the health wagon, and I'm sure all of our partners here, we all want to end that pain and suffering. But at this time, it's my honor to turn it over to Senator Todd. He has been a longtime champion of the health wagon, and there's nobody that has did more to advance the Medicaid expansion for in dental than Senator Todd Pillion. So I want to just everybody welcome Todd Pillion. It's an honor to have him here.
Well, thank you, Theresa, and thank all of you all for attending. I'm kind of chuckling myself that I have talking points in front of me, because if I can't talk about dental, I don't really need to be here. But I may refer to these occasionally. Anyway, so I was asked to talk about how I got here and what the Commonwealth is doing right now. So I'll roll it back to the western end, or the lower end. If you're from there, you can call it the lower end of Lee County, to a little town called Ewing. And I decided late in my academic career at LMU, probably a little later because my grades weren't what they needed to be, to become a dentist. And being from Southwest Virginia, I recognized that it was perhaps an uphill battle, so I contacted what you should all do: contact your local legislators for help. So I contacted then, of course, still today, Delegate Terry Kilgore, and I contacted Senator William Wampler, and I said, "Hey, I want to get in dental school." And they're like, "Well, what are your grades?" I said, "Well, that doesn't really matter. I want to get in dental school, and I'm from Southwest Virginia, and I worked hard for you, and I'm expecting you to work hard for me." Well, and I said, "I'll make you 2 promises. If I get accepted, I'll come back, and I'll make sure everyone at VCU knows where Southwest Virginia is." So during my 3rd year, I was called to the dean's office, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't going to be good." So I was called to the dean's office, and when I walked in, there sat Terry Dickinson and the dean and some other members of the Virginia Dental Association, and they said, "Hey, we've got an idea." And I said, "Okay, what's that idea?" And we want to hold a GRAM project, a MOM project, where we can provide free dental care for Southwest Virginia. And I said, "Sounds like a great idea. I don't think you'll have very good attendance." That's a naivete. It was in 2000. Okay, so I said, "But I'll help you in any way I can." So I remember rolling up that morning at the airport, fog, dense fog, and just as we got to where we could see through it, there were nothing but cars and people. And that's when I realized that pain always trumps pride. And that's when I realized that my mission had to be to come back to Southwest Virginia, and also to get others to come back to Southwest Virginia to help. So fast forward, I graduated, came back, practiced a little while as a general dentist, went back and did a pediatric specialty training program, went to Iraq and was a dentist there for a short term with the Virginia Army National Guard, and came back and set up my own practice. And I've been practicing and seeing Virginia Medicaid patients and Tennessee TennCare patients and adults, pediatric patients and adults with special needs in my practice for the past 16 plus years. So that's what we have to do. We have to get more students from Southwest Virginia and East Tennessee engaged, particularly Southwest Virginia, engaged in their dental careers and engaged in becoming dentists, so we can have more providers in Southwest Virginia. Because we're never going to get people to come to Southwest Virginia, in my opinion, or we have a greater chance to get people to come to Southwest Virginia if they're from Southwest Virginia. Now, what we've done in the General Assembly as of late, of course, Theresa mentioned the expansion of adult dental Medicaid. We did that a couple of years ago because we see, as Southwest delegation, finds it very important for our workforce and the overall health care of our community to make sure that we can provide them with quality health care and quality dental care, and that's why we expanded it to adult dental Medicaid. And the next step that we're dealing with now is getting more providers. And the way that we're hoping to get more providers is last year we increased dental provider rates for the first time in 17 years. 17 years we had never increased provider rates for dental Medicaid. So hopefully with that, we're going to continue to get more provider engagement. We've also been working with Dr. Scott Miller and Dr. Davenport in setting up Appalachian and Ballot Health and setting up an Appalachian Highlands Dental Center in Abingdon. And recently it's been funded by Wellspring. A significant amount of funding came from their foundation to support that important work, and they're doing the Lord's work every single day there. LMU, as Theresa mentioned, LMU has I'm thankful to be on that board as well, and we are in our final stages of making sure that Dr. Denise gets that dental school open in Knoxville, and in turn has a dental clinic right here in Wise in Southwest Virginia. So those are things that we're making significant progress on. Thankfully, as a state legislator, I still get to keep my day job and practice as a pediatric dentist and truly see what we're doing in action. So right now, we can't take our foot off the gas, and thankfully Senator Warner's here to help us with that, and we have to continue this mission. So with that, I appreciate being here, being allowed to speak with each of y'all this morning, and I think I'm going to turn it over to my dear friend, Dr. Carol Pratt.
Thank you very much, Senator. I also welcome you here to this fairground where I have spent 20 years. Well, we started out not at the fairground, but over at the airport, where we got our cars stuck in the mud and we had to be towed out. So this is much better, much better. Some of you in the crowd are international visitors, and I especially welcome you, and some of you are visitors from out of state, and I especially welcome you. These comments are intended for you, because I know that our Virginians know Mark Warner, our senator. But for those of you who don't, I'm going to set the stage a little bit for you and tell you a little bit about the kind of man he is and the kind of work he does for us every day in Washington. He was elected to the U.S. Senate in November of 2008, and he's been reelected to his third term in November of 2020. During his tenure, he's established himself as a bipartisan leader working across the aisle to get work done. And I'm going to go into some of that work in just a minute so you can understand how important it is. He has membership on the most important of the Senate's committees. He chairs the Committee on Intelligence. Let that sink in. So we have in Southwest Virginia, the undisputed national bragging rights when the discussion turns to my senator is smarter than your senator. Because our senator chairs the Select Committee on Intelligence. He's on the Committee on Finance, he's on the Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs, and he is on the National Security and International Trade and Finance Subcommittee, which he chairs. He is involved in many of our day-to-day activities that actually affect us, and I'm going to touch on a few of those really quickly. Consumer protection, education worker training, these are his priorities that he has stated. Strengthening cybersecurity, everybody knows how important that is. Election security, veterans affairs, technology leadership, opportunity zones, and it goes on and on and on. Here are some of the ways that his work affects us every single day in a positive way. His leadership has helped deliver the Inflation Reduction Act, which for the first time will allow negotiation for drug prices in this country. For the first time, Medicare will be able to negotiate the prices of drugs, keeping out-of-pocket costs for our seniors who need it most at a level that they will be able to afford with annual caps. He helped to shore up the Black Loan Disability Trust Fund that affects our friends and neighbors here in Southwest Virginia and supports minors, retired minors, and their families. He petitioned the Office of the National Drug Control Policy for increased assistance in stemming the flow of illicit drugs into our communities. Big problem here. We have a big problem with meth in Southwest Virginia, and we know that drug overdose deaths from meth in year 2020 to 2021 increased by fully 42%. He's concerned about it. He's trying to get us help for that. His CHIPS and Science Act will increase production of semiconductor chips. He likes to say that everything that has a switch has a semiconductor. So think of the semiconductors that we use every single day. Only 12% of those manufactured in the United States. His bill will change that, providing jobs, increasing economic and national security, and helping the United States compete against countries like China for the technology advantage that we need. He helped ensure the passage of the Public Safety Officer Support Act, providing honor for the public service of police officers, firefighters, EMTs, and chaplains. And he's introduced a bill to improve the cybersecurity of credit unions. These are just a few of the ways that he touches our lives in a positive way every single day. And all this work that I just mentioned was done during the first half of this month. May I hear some applause for him? He's a busy guy, and while his work has covered all the topics that I've mentioned and more, he's never forgotten how hard it is for some Southwest Virginians to get dental care. First, as Virginia's governor, and then as our senator, he came to this clinic on this fairgrounds, and he came to thank the volunteers and the donors for their participation. He stayed to hear the stories of the men, women, and children who, for a whole host of reasons, came to a clinic and found themselves lining up days in advance, sleeping in their cars, hitchhiking to get here, just for a chance to get dental care that they couldn't get otherwise. He knew that dental pain is one of the leading reasons that our children miss school, that our workers have to miss work, and that our workers miss out on promotions. He knew that dental care is one of the most expensive out-of-pocket health care costs in this country, and he knew that though free dental clinics held here since the year 2000, in Wise County alone, have treated over 24,000 patients, delivering over $21 million worth of care, that when the clinics closed down, those folks were still without a dental home. He has made dental care for the uninsured a priority, and in May of this year, ground was broken for the clinic that Dr. Tyson mentioned to us. He helped direct $1.25 million to help with the construction of a clinic that I'm sure he's going to have a little bit to say about in a few minutes. It is my very great honor to introduce a champion for Southwest Virginians and for dental health care here. Our senator, our very smart, intelligent senator.
I'm not sure all this reference to being chairman of the Intelligence Committee means I'm intelligent or not. I mean, it does mean I know stuff that if I told you, I'd have to kill you. Thank you all for being here. This is coming back to the Wise County Fairgrounds. It's very special. I want to thank my friend Todd. I know he gave up part of his practice this morning, and you know, there may be people that feud and fight in Richmond or in Washington, but I got to tell you, your delegation in Southwest Virginia, whether it's Todd, Terry, William, I think we lost a great Virginian, Joe Johnson, recently. These are people who care deeply about Southwest Virginia. There's a whole slew of projects that we're working on. I'm glad they got to into that dental school, and Todd does a great job for the region. I'm going to come back to Dr. Collins in a moment in the health wagon, because the only reason I ever whenever I come with anybody connected with the health wagon, there's only one requirement. I have to bring a check, and I'm gonna bring the check in a moment. But I want to follow up a little bit on Carol. Carol was, I think the first time I sat with Carol was like 1995, 1994. And then her son, Matt Menzel, who's gone on to be a great political person on his own, would not give up the lazy boy chair when he was watching golf and let me come in and sit in the living room. But Carol continues to do so much for the region, for the Commonwealth. And the reason why this fairgrounds is so special is I remember I think it was 2002, the first year I was governor, and I heard about what you guys were doing here. And remember coming in on the Friday night before the Saturday, dentists from all over the Commonwealth were coming in, somewhat similar to what you said, Todd, is that, who was going to show up? Well, it ended up being thousands and thousands of people coming not only from Southwest Virginia, but I remember stories of people coming from Michigan, from Florida, driving for days just to come here to get dental assistance. And the memories I have is hot days, and this and other buildings, literally 60, 70 chairs at once where people were being taken care of. Over the years, I brought all of my staff to come and volunteer. My daughter, who's a type 1 diabetic, she spent a couple of different years here checking in people with diabetes themselves, and her being a diabetic able to relate a little bit. And I guess one of the things that was so typical of Southwest was it was people caring for people. And no matter how much crummy stuff was going on in the news around the country and around the world, you could not come to that, the clinic, to the whole mom effort, and not come away with a belief in the basic goodness of people helping. I do want to take a moment before I get to the check part and relate, because it's funny, in Washington you go through periods where nothing happens other than people yelling at each other, to a whole lot of stuff happening. And candidly, over the last year, this Congress has been, I think, incredibly productive. And the vast majority of which has all been done on a bipartisan basis. I make the joke that I work in the only place in America where being a gang member is a good thing, because anytime there's a group of Democrats, Republicans that come together in a bipartisan way, it's called a gang. So we did a bill recently to make sure that veterans who have been exposed to burn pits got the kind of treatment they need. And again, thank you to all of our active duty forces who are here helping provide health care benefits. Carol mentioned the fact of this bill around the so-called CHIPS legislation. Every item that we have, and I always take pride since I was involved at the beginning of cell phones, anything that's got an on and off switch has got a semiconductor chip in it. And we've gone from where we made 40% of the chips in the world down to we're making about 12% right now. And there's not a single cutting edge chip, the ones that are the most advanced that go into satellites or go into our advanced military equipment, that's made in this country. They're all made in Taiwan at this point. When you read the news about what China's trying to do with Taiwan, I mean, beyond the potential of China taking over Taiwan, it would be an economic catastrophe. So we passed something $52 billion to bring some of those facilities back here. And my hope, and we've got one already up in Northern Virginia, my hope is whether it's in Southwest or Southside, that we would get one of those chip manufacturing facilities here in rural Virginia. Not necessarily in Northern Virginia, but in rural Virginia. Southwest, I hear, Todd. I'm on message. We passed the legislation, and it was bipartisan. And I know this is an issue that is always challenging. But in light of some of the awful murders or awful shootings that have taken place, it was a small step on bipartisan rate on Congress, making sure that we do background checks, again, on a bipartisan basis. We passed the infrastructure bill. One of the things that Southwest Virginia desperately needs, I think, post-COVID, is to make sure every household's got broadband. High speed, basically not this 20 and 3, but 120 in terms of high speed up and high speed down, and affordable. No more than $30 a month broadband. And we have now got more than enough resources, combined with what the legislature already put forward, to make sure that we may not get to 100% of the homes, but we will get at least 98% of the homes in Wise County and throughout Southwest Virginia over the next 2 to 3 years. And that isn't going to guarantee you success, but it does make sure that your kids, if they choose to stay here, can have that kind of connectivity. The only thing Todd did not mention in terms of the fact that it was 17 years since there was an increase in Medicaid reimbursements on dental. Remind me, who was the governor that did that? That reimbursement
I was a child then.
You were a child. That was in 2005, when we did a small, and frankly, we should have done a reimbursement since that time. In this most recent bill that got passed, it was a little more partisan, but there were some, I think there were some really good things that were put in it. You know, I was a venture capitalist before I got involved in politics, so I know if somebody invests, you know, and you take a risk, you got to make a profit. I am a proud capitalist, but I also came to realize that it doesn't make sense that Americans are basically paying for the research and development for drugs for the whole world. You know, it doesn't make sense that a drug that you buy, you know, at a pharmacy in Wise cost 4 times as much as if you bought the same drug in Toronto or in London or the WHO doctor in Lyon, France. So we've finally put in place an ability to start negotiating drug prices. We put a cap for seniors. So it'll take a couple years so that out-of-pocket expenses will not exceed $2,000 on an annual basis in terms of drugs. For Medicare patients, I would like to do beyond. For Medicare patients, we put a cap that says your insulin shouldn't cost more than $35 a month. Now, personally, I think that would extend to everyone. And again, I say this as somebody with a type 1 diabetic daughter. I've seen the price. She's had diabetes, type 1 diabetes, now for 21 years. We've seen the price of insulin quadruple in the 21 years that she's had type 1 diabetic. I'm blessed and lucky enough to be able to afford it, but I know there are many, many families that either can't get enough insulin, can't afford it, cut back. That leads, as again, as for everybody, as some of the docs here know, can lead to losing limbs, can lead to losing eyesight. And you know, the truth is, insulin was developed over 100 years ago. There have been refinements made, but there's no reason the price of insulin ought to go up this much. So there are a series of changes in this bill. 2 other things in the bill that are important, particularly for Southwest Virginia. One is, and again, the Affordable Care Act is not perfect by any means. You know, Obamacare, Affordable Care Act, whatever you want to call it this week or not. But one of the things that was really important was making sure that the subsidies for those folks on the margins, because you know, if you're poorest of poor, you get Medicaid. If you got money, you can afford private health insurance. There's a whole lot of folks in the middle, and we made sure that the subsidies for the ACA, so that rates, actually I think rates in Virginia are supposed to be going down next year, will be kept in place. And then finally, one of the things that Todd and the delegation has talked to me about for years is making sure that black lung benefits, we still have not just older coal miners, but particularly the incidence of black lung amongst young miners has gone up exponentially. So that we've made sure that the black lung benefits are put in place on a permanent basis, so we don't have this kind of every year in and out, you know, fight is going to get extended or not, so that miners and their families will know if they have that kind of illness, if they have that kind of sickness, you know, they don't have to worry each year, well, gosh, is Congress going to go ahead and extend the benefits? So, you know, I do think, looking back, the Congress, again, overwhelmingly in a bipartisan fashion, has actually got stuff done. I'm proud that most all of it's been done on a bipartisan basis. That doesn't even get into the questions around NATO and Ukraine and elsewhere. But I'm running past my 5-minute time that I was talking to make sure that we go now to the formal part. Let me get up. And do you want to be Vanna White with me?
I don't. I think you got Vanna. You got Vanna right here.
Come on up and let's.
Our board of trustees.
You got to get in the photo op at least. One of the things we wanted to make sure was that while what's happening at the fairgrounds is remarkable and you know, a great example of people helping people, you know, it is not a permanent, long-term solution. You provide episodic care here, but you've got to make sure folks have got a permanent medical home. I believe this is the design.
Olivia.
Dr. Owens, you want to mention how many, are we talking about 10 additional beds?
Dr. Smith, you want to come here?
Come on.
He can tell this like no other.
I know.
This was Dr. Smith's vision, so let's let him talk about that.
Come on up here, Dr. Smith. It's great to see you again. Remember all the time he's visiting at these, usually sitting in one of the vans when they do this.
With my dad. He
With your dad, your dad, one of the great men of all time. But go ahead, come up here and give us the nipple version. Show us what we're doing.
So we have a 10-chair teaching clinic that has a teledentistry classroom, it has a CBCT, it has a crown mill, generous waiting room. It's designed for COVID. It's got negative airflow, it's got modern everything, it's state-of-the-art dentistry, all brand new, 2.2 million totally invested with a lot of partners that have made this happen, including Lincoln Memorial University, Denise Theresa Cook is here, and she at Lincoln Memorial University, our donors, our board, our community have made this happen. And I do want to say that wouldn't we all like to be the charity, whether it's faith-based or community or medical or whatever it is, that can grow. And the Health Wagon is an example of how a charity can grow and do more and reach more people. And a medical charity can become a dental charity and reach further and further and further. And this is because of nurse practitioners, mobile units, and people who care about the mountains. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Now, of course, I too remember, there was a certain governor that, like, I remember when we were just trying out, hey, Todd, come on, man. I gotta go back to the old days. Well, I think like the original allocation was only like $50,000.
Yes.
But things have moved on, and this is like, you know, it used to be when I was governor I could bring bigger ones, but there's cutbacks at the federal level. But I want to present to you all on behalf of these are now, they used to be called earmarks. They're now called congressionally designated spending, which is earmarks by just a different title. But I was very proud to work with Morgan and Tim and the congressional delegation and make sure that for the dental clinic, we provide $1.25 million in terms of dollars to make sure we make this a reality. So, congratulations, everybody. I'll have to be invited back next year after the next process will probably cost me another $1 million. Job well done, everybody. Congratulations.
And we thank everybody for coming, and we've got wonderful food up the steps. What do we call that?
This red building, or
Red building.
the second story of the red building, there's coffee, there's snacks, there's sausage balls, little brunch items, and feel free to stick around for some questions.
And please go over and view our brand new mobile unit. It got here from Denver, Colorado just a few weeks back. It is here, it is beautiful, it's gorgeous. So go and look at our new mobile unit, and that was
And it's behind Feeding America.
Yes. It is gorgeous.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.